for everybody tapping in, I appreciate you guys tapping in. Appreciate you joining me today. And so start off and just introduce yourself to everybody. Let everybody know what you do, and for the people that don't know you.
Yeah, I mean, everyone should know me. No,
everyone should know you, man.
No, my name's Esteban Ceron. I was born in Colombia, South America. Came here when I was about 6 years old to a little town called Richwood, Ohio. It's a little cow town, 2 stoplight type town. And then from there, kind of moved to the city, Columbus. We call it the city. It's not really a big city. But we moved to the city when I was about 12 years old. And then I went to college, didn't like that. Yeah. Dropped out like 5 times from 5 different universities. Then I was a server for 5 years at an Italian restaurant. I was getting by. I mean, I was living comfortably. You know, everything was okay. But I didn't really have vision or anything of what I wanted in life. Was just kind of going through life like, you know, not almost like a 9 to 5, even though it wasn't a 9 to 5.
Right.
But I just kind of got stuck in that cycle. And then after 5 years, actually ended up breaking up with a girlfriend of mine at the time. And I realized, I didn't date her for 5 years. I worked for 5 years.
Okay.
But then like right as I ended that job, I was also with a girl for like a year. And then I had multiple other girlfriends before then. But that girlfriend was kind of like the last straw for me to realize, like, stop caring about other people more than you care about yourself, because that's how I've always been. Always, like, if I was in a relationship, it was all about them. It's always about them. I never had vision for my life. It was just like, how can I make your life better? Yeah. And then finally, I just woke up one day after we broke up, and I was like, dude, I'm just going to start living for me, like actually for me. Yeah. So started with small things, like literally making the bed, as cliche as that sounds.
That's like, I believe that. I believe in that.
Yeah, just small little things, right? And then started working with my moms, doing demolitions, kind of getting into the construction world just because I was tired of the serving and I didn't know what to do with my life. Yeah. So I decided to go back to her and, you know, give it a real shot. Because I used to work with her like here and there, but I was always like, fuck this. I'm not going to work for my mom's, you know? And so after doing a couple demos, I decided I hated demos and I didn't want to be the person doing the work. I wanted to be the person kind of like in charge of the work. So then I started helping her with like the construction aspect of it, kind of, you know, organizing her, because my mom's a huge hustler. She's always has been. So I kind of started learning from her a little bit. And then I started taking, you know, charge of like the crews and the groups. And then fast forward a couple of years later, not even a year later, I took over the company and started investing into real estate through other connections, right? So as I started to learn about real estate, flipping houses, got into wholesaling, we took the family business from about 500,000 a year to 5 million a year in less than a year. Yeah. So as soon as I took it over, I blew it up by meeting these investors, by adding my value, which was construction, to the real estate investors that all they had was money, deals, but they didn't have anyone to build it. So started doing that, and then it opened my eyes, and that's when life really took off. And from there, you know, have a development company, real estate company, investing company. I got a tech company as well, and then obviously GW1, which is kind of how we linked up. Which, you know, obviously helps guys like yourself invest in real estate, right? Because you guys are doing your thing on the field, and then, you know, through the accolades and through, you know, the money that comes out of the new NIL, we decided with Zach, who's my partner in it, that, you know, we should help you guys grow your real estate portfolio, because that's the best way to, not even house hack, tax hack. Right. So that's really what, I mean, got me here today, was just the evolution of making a decision to start living life for myself. And then starting learning from the people I wanted to be like, instead of going to the school and doing what society told me I needed to do. And yeah, man, that's kind of like the 30,000 foot view of who I am.
That's Esteban right there. That's what I'm talking about. Well, there was a lot of hidden gems in there. Like I heard from what I heard from that whole thing, from the moment you started, you know, living for yourself, everything kind of
literally
changed. Like overnight.
It was overnight. I mean, something. Yeah, we'll zoom into that part of it. Like I said, I said, fuck this. I'm not going to be with girls anymore. Like fully just about them. Started living for me, started making my bed, started going to the gym, started eating right, stopped going out on the weekends together. I had a 6-month period from when I made that decision to the next time I even went out. It was work, home, gym. That's it.
And so what was one of the biggest things that you noticed from the time where you were chasing girls, doing, you know, Lord knows what, to after that 6 months where you kind of cut, like where you really just focus on Esteban, like I'm going to be the best Esteban that I can be.
Right.
What was one of the biggest things that changed? Was it, you said you mentioned you went to the gym. Was it physically? Was it spiritually? Or was it just mentally, like who I want to be as a man? What did you get out of doing that for yourself?
So I think it's a little bit of everything. First of all, I lost a shit ton of weight. I was feeling healthier. I was feeling better overall. I was never like morbidly obese by any means, but you know, that skinny fat type thing, that's kind of what I was. I wasn't lifting. I was just, you know, living.
Right.
So healthier. I just felt better, so I could wake up earlier. I just had more energy to like, you know, put into what I was doing things with intention instead of just going through the motions. And then mindset wise, like once I kind of was like, yo, I like this, right? And I started focusing my attention on like what I wanted. That's when like life just started going crazy. After those 6 months, the first time I went out, I met my wife.
Wow.
Like it was just that confidence. I wasn't even looking for her. I was just had that confidence of, even though I did lose a little bit of weight, you know what I mean? I was making money now because like I wasn't a server anymore. I was actually slinging contracts out there for the construction. So I was making a lot more money. But I just had zero intentions about exterior forces. And with that came essentially the law of attraction. Like, you know, people look at you different when you feel different. And that's how I literally met my wife that night. And, you know, I knew from that moment that that's what I wanted. I don't think I would have known or even been able to land her, if you will, if it wasn't for that internal confidence, that internal perspective of, hey man, nothing else matters. Just like do what you want to do. Be confident in who you are. You know what I mean? Like you have stuff going on for you now. So
you could draw parallels to like that story to like anybody else and anything else you want to do in the world. Like you just so happen to find yourself doing real estate and all the things that you do now. But I feel like that's that moment of enlightenment. And I feel like to an extent, I think from my experience of just knowing people in general, I feel like everybody at some point in their life comes to some kind of realization is like, whoa, I can actually do something for myself. I think it's a matter of when. Some people might, you know, some people will go crazy in their 20s and they end up at, you know, 31 years old and they're like, oh shit, like, you know, I kind of need to do something for myself. And that's when you get the people that, you know, I wish when I was 22 that I was, you know, doing something, you know, better for myself. And one of the reasons why I wanted to, you know, have you on here is there's a 17, 18-year-old out there right now that's like, you know, I don't want to wait till I know I was that way. I know when I was 17, 18 years old, I used to, now granted how I was a knucklehead in my own way, but I always had I always had that mindset to where like I wanted to, you know, start now. Like I want to do something good for myself, you know, now. And so there's someone out there right now that, you know, wants a better future for themselves. And so like things like this can like breach that enlightenment. Like, hold on, I don't have to do what everybody else is doing. I don't have to be like, you know, chasing the girls and just really you're just rolling the wind of rolling the social winds. You go this way when this trend's cool, and you go this way when that trend is cool, and it's like you're always trying to stay afloat. And it's like, at what point do you pivot and put your foot in the ground and go against the grain and say, you know what, you know, I'm tired of trying to please everybody. I'm not trying to be a people pleaser anymore. Let's be the best G. Scott Jr. Possible, or that person out there. And so,
I think you nailed it right on the head there. Yeah, I mean, run your own race. Don't look to the sides. I think that all kind of goes along with what you're saying.
Right.
And for the young guys, it's like, don't waste your early 20s. Like, what's cooler, going to a bar being broke, you could barely afford a drink, or being on a yacht with those honeys that are, you know what I mean? Like, you can have anything that you really want to, but you have to like build up to it. You can't just like go crazy and go out and do all these things that aren't benefiting you. Your 20s and your early, even your teenage years should be developing you to the person you want to become. I wasted a lot of time. I didn't, I guess, become clear until I was 23, 24 years old.
I was going to ask, like, give me a timeline. It's like, what? So around that time, you said you worked for about 5 years. Yeah. When did you break up with that girlfriend? Like, around what age was that?
I was 24.
Wow. Yeah. So that's even still
6-7 years ago.
That's still a little older than
100.
A lot of people could, get a jump start. You're doing great for yourself. That's a prime example. It's just like no excuse. Like if you're out there right now and you're watching this, you know what I'm saying? That's just like at 24 years old and what are you, 29, right?
I'm 30.
30 now.
You
just had a birthday, right?
I just had a birthday.
Yeah. And so And just like that, like, was that 6 years?
Yeah.
Was that 24 to 20, 30? That's 6 years, man. It's just like,
yeah.
But it didn't start because, someone, it's just external things. It all happened internally. It's like,
it all starts internally.
What do I want for myself? I'm sure you have that look in the mirror is like, man, what am I doing? You probably had that moment.
Literally in the mirror, like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Once sports were out of the way, because they were out of the way early, like after high school, and I didn't end up going pro. I didn't do any of these cool things that as a kid I wanted.
Right.
I found myself lost. And I think that had a lot of contribution to it of like, who am I? Because I thought I was this guy. And then when that guy's was gone, what was left?
Yeah.
Right. And so with society, with having a very traditional family, I was pushed to go to college without knowing what I wanted to do. So, not knowing what you want and then being kind of let out on your own with no responsibilities is not a good mix.
Not a good family.
So, advice to the younger crowd is like, figure out what you want. And it's okay that you don't know what you want, but don't spend your time aimlessly walking through life. Like, go stick to something. If you don't like it, pivot from it.
Yeah.
But like, give it your true all.
Right.
Versus just like going through the motions.
Right. And if you do that, and let's just say hypothetically something doesn't work on. I want to say this correctly. So let's just say hypothetically you want to do something in your life and you want to be successful in it. And you bust your ass, you work your ass off for it. You give it everything you have, and let's just say for any hypothetical reason it doesn't end up working out. Just the fact that you tried and you actually you gave it your all, or you put your best foot forward, you're gonna take things from that experience that never goes away. Skills, learning how to fail. There's that experience is not wasted. That time is not wasted. Let's just use this podcast for example. Let's say I do 50 episodes and this never goes in any direction that's positive. It's an immature mindset to think that was a waste of time or something that was, I could have done something better with my time, because I learned lessons through this to develop me and push me towards that person that I'm gonna be. If that makes sense.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I were to be out not doing it, or I don't want to use me as an example, but anybody chasing whatever they're doing, let's just say hypothetically, regardless of if it fails or whatever the case may be, you are still developing towards. That's what people say about football all the time. It's like this environment that we live in as young men. Regardless if you make it to the NFL or not, you take some of these characteristics and skills that you learn in this grit and hard work that last a lifetime.
Bro, that's why I love hiring athletes.
Yeah.
You nailed it right on the head. Like
right.
Rafa, my project manager, he was a professional soccer player.
Yeah.
He knows what hard work, determination is. That's what athletes do.
Yeah.
They put themselves through uncomfortable situations.
Right.
So you're absolutely fucking right.
Yeah.
And then going back to like, if I do 50 episodes, it's not wasted. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because you're giving it your all. You're actually doing it, right? If you're half-assing it, then it could be a waste, right? But if you're giving something your all, it's never a waste. Even if you fail, it's never a waste because you actually put in the effort towards it. And like you said, you learn lessons, valuable lessons by talking to all these people. So yeah, it would not be, a waste of time.
And it's easy because that's the path that's less traveled, because it's, it's gritty. It's, you have to actually work towards something. The path more traveled is like what the body kind of naturally wants, is to seek comfort, to do what your friends do. And that's why I feel like that's why you see, I don't want to say a percentage, but you see a large percentage of people that kind of live very similar lives, because we're almost like, it's just like shrimp in a sea. They just, you kind of roll together.
Yeah, dude.
And it's like, when does that decision be made? Like, I don't want to just do, what everybody else does. I want to make something better of myself. And, without a lack of better words, just be different in a way.
So back to the title, Power of Perspective, right? What I've come to realize, because I've had those same thoughts, like, why is 90% of the world like working this 9 to 5, doing these motions?
Right. But
then you take a step back and you realize there are people that are literally going through the motions, but then there's also a percentage of people that like working that 9 to 5 perspective is the dream.
Yeah.
They grew up poor, let's say in Mexico, right? And they came over on, through the border illegally because like life was hell there, right? Life was hell.
Yeah.
So, there was violence, there's this, like you don't know where your next meal comes from.
Yeah.
Having that stability,
Right.
because that's what the 9 to 5 does. It's stability.
Yeah.
Right. And like being an entrepreneur, like what you're doing with real estate, what I'm doing with real estate, like it's not for everybody, dude. Like it's hard work. There's L's. There's a lot of like what's gonna go happen next. There's a lot of things that go wrong.
Yeah.
The 9 to 5, like you clock in at 9 and you leave at 5.
It's
and you're done. It's not
probably comforting. It's probably comforting because it's that people get a slave to that paycheck, and but it's a trap,
right?
And you know 100%. Before you know it, you're 40, but it's consistent money,
right?
But you're almost in this trap.
But it might not be a trap for those people that like no, they didn't have any other option, right? Like this is the American dream for them, is to just have a steady job, right? The rest of the world doesn't live like America. Most people live way shittier lives than we do over here. So that 9 to 5, like to some people, is the dream, right? So it's all about perspective.
Yeah.
However, I agree with you. I think there's two dreams, right? I think there's the one they sell you and the real dream. The one they sell you is go to college, go do all these things, and then be a slave for until you're 65 and then retire, enjoy the last
life
10.
and debt,
Right? To some people, they're okay. They're content with that. People like you and me, hell no. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to retire less than 5 years from now and be chilling. I don't think I'll ever retire though, because I'm just like
we talked about that last. We talked about that last episode. Like that drive. What makes you who you are right now, and what makes me who I am right now.
Right.
What got us here won't allow us to just
I made all
kick our feet up, because it's like that never connect. I'm gonna say I'm gonna kind of repeat myself what I said last week, and it's just like I'm gonna use I use Tom Brady as an example. It's just like if you would have told young Tom Brady where he's gonna be in and let's say in college he's gonna be a starting quarterback at the team up north, he'd probably be jumping for joy. You know what I'm saying? But then it was like, that drive, what makes him who he is never enough. So then he was 2 Super Bowls in, and it's like you would think I made it, but it's like that drive is never enough, and now he's all these Super Bowls in and he can't get enough of it. And so it's almost like that same thing. It's just like that drive. What makes
he won 7 Super Bowls and he's going right back to work. He's not even taking a year off. He's going to go to the broadcast room, which is still work. Like traveling, like you're still putting in work,
right?
That's the most Tom Brady thing ever. You know what I mean?
So let's go back a few steps.
Sure.
I'm just going to go because I want the essence of this to be like someone out there, that wants to learn a little bit about real estate.
Sure.
And let's just go real slow and easy. Real estate 101 for dummies. Just like this is my first time hearing about real estate. What is real estate? I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
What is real estate?
So very elementary version, I guess, of real estate is owning land. I mean, I saw a Snoop podcast the other day, and he said, if you don't own land, you don't own shit. And that's the number one philosophy. Like, you need to own something, whether you want to be a real estate professional and own a bunch of land, or you're just a normal person that maybe will just own 1 or 2 houses in your lifetime. At least own. There's people that go this whole life renting, never owning anything for real, any real asset. So real estate is literally owning a property, land, what have you, preferably something that has a dwelling or will have a dwelling on it. That's an asset that's going to appreciate over time. Long-term real estate always works. It's the number one asset class in the history of the world. It's the most thing that 90% of millionaires have in their portfolio is real estate. So it's, for me, real estate levels the playing field, right? Like, I didn't make it in pro sports. I didn't make it to collegiate sports, right? You have the opportunity to go to the NFL, which that's 1%. Like, you're part of that 1% that even made it to college, and then even less that goes to the NFL, right? To make millions and millions and millions of dollars. Well, now even going to college can make you millions of dollars because of the NIL, right? But for the rest of the world, real estate's, like, in my opinion, one of the few ways that levels that playing field, right? You could be making millions in the league. I'll be making millions in real estate, right? So it's like the one thing that, like, I don't need a college education for, right? It's kind of like the hack of life, in my opinion. So young people, if you don't know where to go, at least start through real estate, and you can pivot from there, right? You don't have to just be a real estate guy. Don't let that define you, but you should always have real estate
in your back pocket. Like, me, like I like like my main thing is the main thing. My main thing is football. That's what I do. But I definitely cut out a part of my life to make sure I'm always developing knowledge in real estate. Building relationships with people. I've noticed, like, the relationships that you have with people is huge. And
powerful.
It opens up so many doors just to, different things you want to do.
Yeah.
What are the avenues that you can go down in real estate? So there's,
real estate's very broad.
You mentioned you did wholesaling.
Yeah.
Because
there's niches within real estate.
There's this idea out there that to do real estate, you need bucket loads of money to even get started. There's somebody out there that right now it's like, yeah, Esteban, I want to do real estate, but dude, I'm living with my parents. Like, how can I get a part of this?
So you nailed it on the head earlier with wholesaling. Wholesaling, let me break down the different niches first, right? So real estate is the overall idea of owning land, right? But within real estate, there's different avenues. Construction's one of them, right? You're building the estate. There's wholesaling. What wholesaling is basically you're the seller, right? I say, hey, let me buy your distressed property at, let's call it $50,000.
Yep.
You agree, right? We won't go into how to get that to happen, but $50,000. I go turn it around and sell it to an investor for $60,000.
Yep.
That spread between 50 and 60, which is 10 G's, that's what the wholesaler makes.
And as a wholesaler, explain that you never make that purchase of $50,000.
You never do.
You put the house in contract.
Correct. You're selling a piece of paper.
Right.
That's really what's going on. You're selling a piece of paper. You get the seller to agree to sell to you, and before it closes, you don't need the 50 G's. You go find someone that will buy it for more, and you make that assignment fee. So you never, one, own the property,
right?
And two, you never put in a penny as far as towards that purchase, right?
Yeah. And let's dive a little bit more into wholesaling, because I think that's a very realistic
That's
thing
the best way to start. If you have no money, wholesaling or any value add to investors is the best way to start.
Yeah.
Right. For me, I started in construction. That's a value add, right?
Yeah.
Investors have money and they need things built. They're not going to build it themselves. So I provided that service to get around those type of people to learn from them, right? So I'm adding that value. Wholesaling is the best way to start if you have zero money, because even though once you climb the wholesale ladder of making it a big operation, and then you do need to spend a lot of marketing dollars to get those leads,
right?
You could literally drive around, or if you don't got a car, walk around. If you got a bike around and go look for crappy properties. Everybody listening to this, guarantee a crappy house has popped in their head. Oh, that house needs flipping.
I do know that house.
Right? Yeah. See what I'm saying? So you write down the address.
Let's get really technical on how, because we got to consider there's someone out there, like, I know I'm following you, but there's someone out there that's like, whoa,
what are you talking about?
Right. Yeah. So they can find a property, and then you can write. What can you do from there?
Yeah, find a distressed property. Distressed means it needs work, right? Okay. You're not going to go find the nicest crib because that's just not. It's already top market value.
Okay.
You're going to find hopefully the crappiest house in a decent neighborhood. It doesn't even have to be a decent neighborhood, but crappiest house.
Right.
Write down the address, and then go to the local auditor. So we're here in Columbus. It's Franklin County. The county's Franklin. You go Franklin County auditor, and you type in that address. That address is going to spit out the owner and their mailing address. All right. From there, you can literally write them a letter if you can't find them, if the house is boarded up or whatever. You can literally write them a letter. Hey, Mr. Seller, I'm interested in buying your house in cash. I see it needs some work. Looks like it's kind of abandoned. Are you interested in selling this to me? There's 1,000 ways to write these letters.
Right.
Literally Google it. We're in the 21st century. You can find all this information for free.
Right.
But yeah, very simply put, I want to buy your house in cash. We can close as quick or as slow as you want. All right. Let's say that the seller receives that letter. They say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I would love to get rid of the house.
Yeah.
So from there, again, you gotta. Let me back up. You need to self-educate. You can't just go willy-nilly and not know what you're doing.
Right.
There's free information. There's YouTube videos. There's podcasts.
YouTube University.
Literally.
I've learned so much.
Literally. So you can find out how to exactly do this by Googling it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 30,000 foot view is, you write a letter, you figure out who the owner is, put the property into contract. Again, $0 down. You could put $100 deposit if they want you to.
Right.
We typically don't.
Yeah.
Some people want $1,000 as EMD, which is earnest money deposit. That just, gives them the clarity that you're serious.
Yeah.
Right. You're putting a little bit of skin in the game. You don't have to.
Right.
But I'm sure it's easier to raise $1,000 than it is to raise $50.
Right.
So you could figure out a way to get $1,000.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario. Anyway.
Yep.
So you put the ZMD, you put it in contract, and then through Facebook, through Google, go find your local real estate investors. There's people out there marketing themselves every day that they want these deals.
And so do you recommend for the person out there that goes and, you know, puts a house on contract, do you recommend having a buyer already ready to, you know, buy a property, you know, have somebody in mind? Because what if you get in a situation where you got a house on contract and you have 30 days to close, right?
Yes.
What if you get in a situation
or less
as soon as, but you have the 30 days is the mark you want to get that house closed on.
Yeah.
What if you get a house in contract and you aren't necessarily able to find that buyer?
One, then it's not a good enough deal. Two, it's kind of hard to find. I mean, there's already buyers. So I guess to backtrack, before you're putting houses in contract, go to your local REI events, which is real estate investing events, right? You've been to one of mine.
Yep.
Those are free.
Yeah.
Right? Literally all you have to do is type in Google free real estate investor meetup in my area. Right? There's tons of them. We're not the only ones that do them. There's all over the country that do them. So go meet those people and figure out who the buyers are. And I'll tell you this, a good deal funds itself, a good deal sells itself. If it's a good enough deal, you will find a buyer. And if not, if you don't find a buyer and it's a good deal, send it to me. I'll buy it at don.esteban.ceron.
and like I said, literally go to these events and socialize. Get to know these people. Get phone numbers. And a lot of times when I went to the event, what was it, Elevate? You know, you almost address yourself as like kind of what you do in real estate. So in the first 10 seconds of the conversation, you'll know if that person's a buyer.
What do you do?
Yeah, what do you do? And they'll let you know, I'm a buyer or I'm a real estate investor.
Like if you don't know what you're doing, go find the wholesalers, go find the contracts and say, hey, listen, I don't have the capacity, I don't have the money for the EMD, I don't know how to analyze this, but I found this great deal and I'm talking to the seller. Because that's the hardest part is finding the people that own these houses. Right? You can, the way I told you, through the auditor, sometimes they don't answer those letters, right? Sometimes you got to knock on the door. There's ways to get to them. But if you're in direct contact and they're interested in selling, you can go partner with these wholesalers and you split the commission 50-50. Right? But if you had $0, you make 10, 5, 15, 20K on your first deal, like it's okay to split the pie, right? A quarter of a watermelon is a whole lot better than a whole grape.
Right.
So don't get greedy. Don't
well, that's a good one.
Yeah. Like that's what I'm saying. Don't get greedy, right? Go find people that are smarter than you, that have the resources on both sides of the equation, right?
Right.
If you want to sell it to a flipper, go find a flipper. If you want to sell it to a wholesaler, go whatever you want to do, go find the people doing it and add value in some way, shape, or form. Right? It doesn't necessarily mean money. There's other ways to add value that's not money. If you're broke and you want to get into real estate, go find the wholesalers and say, hey, what can I do for you? Could I clean your houses? Could I mow your lawn? How could I get free information from you by providing value?
Yeah.
You know, my mentor, Austin Rutherford, he told me this story once about one of, this kid. He was like 17 years old and he hit him up for 3 months straight asking, hey, is there any way I could provide value? And Austin's like, I got nothing for you. You know, just keep hitting me up or, maybe next time, blah, 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 blah. The dude followed up. It got to a point where Austin needed to literally just put together furniture for his new office. And the kid called him and he said, hey, if you got anything to do, I would just love some free game. How could I add value to you? He's like, well, I got some furniture to build. He's like, bet. He was there in 15 minutes. Guess who hired him to be acquisitions? He did.
Wow.
So then he became an acquisitions guy, making commissions for us, and he taught him the entire game while paying him to teach him because of that follow-up and that added value of just, I'll do whatever it takes to learn from you.
That's a hell of a story. That's just wanting it bad enough, Like there's just someone out there, you kind of, that's the difference between, I want it, or I really want it. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to be like, I want to do real estate or, I want to make something out of myself. But like, what's the real extent that you're willing to go? And that's in anything. That's in real estate. That's that kid, following up constantly with Austin. That's that football player that, that maybe he wants to work,
practice
go to college,
over,
or is he really, completely dedicating himself? And it's like, it's crazy. Like we said earlier, how that's why you like to hire athletes. It's crazy how many parallels of principles and concepts that are the same in every profession. You know what I'm saying? It's all the same bases that you hit on. Are you able to do you work hard?
Success leaves clues.
You know what I'm saying? Like, are you persistent? Are you able to handle adversity? Adversity with you should let them know about how much. To be ready to take the word no and when you're trying to get a wholesaler.
Oh, yeah.
Because how often are you going to be able to get a lead on a house? That's what I'm saying. That's another thing. Yeah. Don't be discouraged when, you're trying to Because I'm sure trying to reach out, what's that process like, trying to find somebody? Because you get declined a lot.
Yeah. So if you can't find them, through the auditor and can't find their information, there's a step further you can take, which is called skip tracing.
Yeah.
Which basically what it is you input the house and this data company will give you 3-4 phone numbers. It'll give you the owner's name, their possible email addresses, and their possible home addresses. And so now you have 3-4 phone numbers to call to try to get a hold of them. Now you got 3-4 addresses to write those letters to.
Right.
So it takes persistence. I mean, in theory, like the process is simple, but finding that is not easy. Wholesaling is not easy by any means. I mean, I did it for a little bit. I still do it when it falls on my lap, but I'm not actively doing it because it's a grind. It is a head down grind. Hours of thousands of people motherfucking you on the phone saying, stop calling me, because I'm sure you get the calls too. Even if you were interested in selling 1, 2, 3 for a cash offer, you're just like, fuck off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you get used to rejection. Live in that rejection.
Yeah.
Best way to do that before you even get into real estate, go do door-to-door sales.
Yeah.
Go do door-to-door sales and get that door slammed in your face so you become callous. Doesn't matter if they say, no, I'm going to go knock on 100 more. Until someone says, it's a numbers game.
Right.
Wholesaling is a numbers game, and it's a grind. Yeah. It's a good place to start, but you eventually want to evolve past that because that's like step 1 in the real estate game. After that, I'd say flipping would be maybe step 2. You buy a house, you fix it up, you sell it on the market, you make a little bit of spread. Both those things I just mentioned, you're still trading your time for money.
Right.
If you stop doing it, the money goes away.
Yeah.
The only true way to achieve financial independence and generational wealth is through rentals, through owning the real estate. Not just to flip it. You own it for 6 months while you sell it. You make that paycheck once.
Right.
Rentals, you got to stack them up, of course, and it's also not as simple as I'm making it sound to be. Disclaimer.
A lot that goes into it.
Yeah, you got to put in work. Anything worth having doesn't come easy.
Right.
So if you're not willing to put in work, if you're not willing to be rejected, then you shouldn't do it. Yeah. Go work the 9 to 5.
Yeah. Real talk. Real talk. What are some misconceptions of real estate that you see out there that someone may not necessarily want to get into real estate because of this idea? Is there anything coming to your mind about
that? You need money, but you don't. That's you have to leverage OPM, which is other people's money, and you got to leverage OPT, which is other people's time.
Okay.
Those two things are, write that down if you're listening, because that's the key of this whole game.
Right.
It's key to anything.
Yeah.
Right. Even big corporations, what do? They leverage people's 9 to 5 to get what they want. How much do the CEOs make compared to the lower level?
Yeah.
Right. And who's on the vacation yachts? The CEO, because he's leveraging those people's time. They only get 2 weeks off a year.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. What is so for someone out there that potentially wants to do real estate, kind of like how you do, like full time. Well, I know you do a lot of things, but what is a day in a life? What does a schedule look like from the time that you wake up to go to bed, or what's a work day look like for you?
For me specifically, I've been blessed enough to have found success in this. So I've been able to take multiple 3-4 week vacations multiple times a year, travel the world. It's all this beautiful thing. However, I'm not working 9 to 5. I'm working 7 to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You got to be willing to put in the work.
Yeah.
All right. When you're here, you're here. You're not working 40 hours a week. You're working 40 hours every 3 days.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, again, I get more time off. I don't have to work as much if I don't want to, but it's that drive. You just want to. You know what I mean? You end up just wanting it. The days go by faster. Everything just goes quicker because you have that head down mentality. You're not looking at the clock. I mean, you know what I mean? Get what you want. You can't look at the clock.
Right.
Like, simple as that.
Right.
So, real estate in any capacity is a good move. If you want to go all in on real estate, just have determination and get around people that are smarter than you. That's what I did. I got around people that are smarter than me. I learned from them, and then I copy paste. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Yeah. You literally just need to copy paste and then determination.
Yeah, and that's what it is. I feel like that one person that gets your foot in the door. For me, it was you. We came across each other, met, had a meeting, and from there it was like I'll never forget. Like within that 2 weeks, I think I literally met it was like upwards of 10 people. And it was ridiculous. I got like connected because I ended up going to that Elevate event. Then I actually ended up, I went to a little seminar with Donald.
Oh, nice.
And I met people in there. It was like it was like crazy.
Yeah,
I just met a ridiculous amount of people, like valuable people that, like I have connections now just in that way.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like another piece of advice I would have is just like, I know it's tough, but like you said, like going to those like real estate events and meeting these people and, rubbing people the right way and just like, and so then you get connected through people and you just never know where these relationships, go. And it's like that old saying, it's like, it's not really what you know, it's who you know. And that's 100%. So real because like who you know will essentially give you the knowledge and what you know.
Right.
So it's like almost the who you're around and who you spend your time with.
It's the who, not the how.
Right. And it's like everything else will kind of take care of itself once you're surrounded by the right people.
Add value any way you can. You don't have to have money. You don't have to, just literally any sort of value whatsoever. Follow up, right? And then understand how to leverage people's time and money.
Yeah.
Those three things are going to be very, very dangerous in anything. Doesn't even have to be real estate. You could take those same rules. It's business. Yeah. It's a business. You want to be a business person, follow those three rules and you're going to be okay. So, yeah. But back to rentals, very, very important because that's the only way to achieve financial freedom, right? The reason I'm harping on this is because one, when you buy rentals, when you buy real estate in general, it has a tax deduction, right? So let's fast forward. You're no longer the hungry, grindy kid that is just doing anything to make money.
Right.
You're now a successful person. You're making a crap ton of money.
Yeah.
Let's go back to football. Let's say you make it to the league, right? Making millions of dollars.
Yep.
Uncle Sam's going to take about 50% of that.
Right.
Because you're in the highest tax bracket.
Yep.
How do you contradict that? How do you counteract that? You buy real estate. Because would you rather own real estate or just pay the taxes, right? When you own real estate, you can write off that real estate and get a lower tax basis. So that's number one. Number two, every single time that you get paid rent from your tenant, you're paying that mortgage, which means your debt on that house is going down, and then you're also cash flowing. So let's say your mortgage is $2,000, the rent is $2,500.
Yeah.
So you pay $2,000 to the bank. You keep $500. What could $500 a month do to you? That's huge.
Yeah.
Now multiply that times 10 houses.
10 houses.
Five grand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And every year, what happens to rent goes up. Never goes down. Rent never goes down.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I've seen.
Yeah.
Right. So rent goes up, which means the next year it's not $500 a month. It's going to be $525 a month.
Yeah.
By year 10, I mean, you're probably cash flowing $1,000. You owe very little on that property.
Yeah.
And you get the tax benefits.
And this is and you have these for a lifetime. You always have equity. I mean, if you do it right, if you're able to add value to it, you have equity in these properties for a lifetime. Like these, like we just got that property on campus, and that ownership is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's a lifetime thing that I have that will be a constant asset that'll pay me.
And it's only going to keep going up in price because what's Ohio State doing?
Right.
Ohio State's only getting bigger.
Yeah.
It's getting more expensive. Price is going up, which means anything around there is going up.
Yeah.
So that house is going to appreciate with Ohio State, right? So 10 years from now, when you're so far gone from college, house is still going to be there.
Yep.
Rent's going to be probably double or triple what it is today.
Yeah.
And your mortgage payment will be exactly the same as it is today for 30 years.
Yeah.
Right? Then let's say you pay it down 15 years from now, but your house is appreciated. Not only has it appreciated, you owe less on it. Yeah. So you could refinance again and get all this cash out tax-free because it's a loan to go buy more real estate or to go take a vacation or to go do whatever you want. Right. It's tax-free. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's the power of real estate is the tax implications more than anything.
Yeah, that's what's up. Do you read at all?
I read a lot.
Yeah. What do you think for someone out there that just, like, man, all this information is great. How do I take that next step? Is there like a kicker book that's just like, maybe like a day one, just like, let me order this book off Amazon right now just to like continue to put this into play in my life.
Before you read about real estate, get your mindset right. So go read mindset books because you're going to need the proper mindset to be in this business. Because this business, again, it's glamorous once you figure it out, and you can figure it out. It is something very achievable. It's not the 1% that does it. A lot of people own homes.
Right.
But get your mindset right. Get ready for rejection. Get ready to callous that like inner bitch that we all have sometimes and just get rid of it. So what I would recommend is self-help books. Yeah. Any of them. Start with self-help books. Get your confidence up. Get your, callous your soul to make sure that like you're ready to handle it. And then through real estate, there's a ton. Go read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah. That's the best starter book for not just real estate, but just investing in general. Yeah. Because that's going to teach you the power of leveraging other people's money. It's going to teach you the power of, your mind and what it can do. Yeah. So that's where I would start. I would start with mindset books and then move on to real estate books.
Yeah. One of the good books that I've read. Have you ever read the book Chop Wood, Carry Water?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I recommend it. I mean, you're pretty far along, so you're gonna. But like we talked about earlier, it's perspective. You might read that book and just something might hit you in a certain way that you just never really thought of before, and it's really the concept of the book's so cool. It's essentially just like this kid that wants to be an archer, and he goes these classes, and he goes away to this camp to do it, and on day one he's like, man, I'm ready just to shoot that archer. I'm ready just to be the samurai I wanted to be, right? And it's like that old Karate Kid story. It makes me take off the jacket. And not necessarily doesn't do that exactly, but it's that story. It's like you gotta, you gotta start with your stance. You gotta start with like all the little tedious things.
Foundation.
The foundation. I was just talking about that today with somebody. Like when you first get started in something, it's like it's all wet concrete, for instance, and it's like setting that however you want it to be, however you want to do. Like the kind of person that you want to be in that avenue, 5-10 years from now starts in the beginning, just like setting that foundation. Because once that hardens, like, that's kind of just like, who you are. It's who you're known as.
It's your base.
It's your base. It's like, it's like the essence of what, who you are in that, in that realm. And so I definitely think just like seeking knowledge of like what you said, is like working on yourself. First and foremost is like,
fuck real estate.
Before anything.
Work on yourself first.
Yeah. And it's like, but then you might, through working on yourself, because you and I both know real estate's not for everybody. No. And so, working on yourself might, like you said, the law of attraction, you might attract perfectly, what is going to be, what your purpose is supposed to be. And I say, I wanted this to be a whole, real estate spiel, but like I'm almost getting the vibes of almost just like real estate's cool, but it's like before you want to do real estate, it's kind of like
real estate is what I do, but it's not who I am.
Right.
You know what I mean? Real estate has helped me unlock doors that I didn't even dream that were possible.
Yeah.
However, like I'm not just a real estate guy, just like you're not just a football guy.
Yeah.
I'm a mindset guy. How could I dream it, become it? You know what I mean? And back to reading too, writing, journal. For people starting out in anything. Again, not fuck real estate. Like I love real estate. But the whole point of it here is like journal to find out who you are, because it's cool to read back too and see how far you've come.
Yeah,
because it really, really is. I was just reading. Yeah,
did you do journal?
Yeah,
did you journal like through your process?
I didn't start journaling until I met my mentor. That was something that I picked up with my mentor.
Okay,
but I started journaling as soon as I met him, and that was before I had my kid.
Yeah.
So I was actually reading back a few days ago while I was journaling. I started to read back. I was like, damn, like look how far we've come in just 3 years.
Yeah.
I started my journey 6 years ago into I would call success,
yeah,
quote unquote. But even 3 years ago, even last year, where I was last year compared to where I am now is just, so different. And it's cool to be able to document because you have your memories and, but the way you write it,
when you read it,
you're like, damn, I remember exactly how I was feeling. I remember those goals, these visions. I had my 5-year goals written down. You know what I mean? And those have changed.
Yeah.
My 5-year goal 2 years ago was to live in Hawaii within 5 years. Although I would love to live in Hawaii, I've gone there so many times now because of real estate, because of the success, that I've realized like it's beautiful. It's my favorite place on earth. However, it's so far away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It takes 9 hours from here, right? And all my people are here. Like I realized like that's not what I want. I think I was infatuated with like being able to say, I'm moving to Hawaii, living good. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of what my real goal was.
Right.
But when you start doing these things, you like your goals change. They get bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Like I was like, damn, I'm gonna own 50 rental properties and this and this and that. And now, we ground broke on 108 units. Like before, that was my top, right? That was the like ceiling that I was like, if I could only be here, right? So it is good to also, as you're climbing, to like look around and give yourself some grace, right? Because you're never going to be content with where you're at once you get the mindset right. You're never going to look and be like, I want more. I want more. But
I was going to say, like where you are right now, you don't feel any kind of content with where you are?
No, not at all. I feel like I don't feel lost in any way, but I feel like I have so much more.
But if you told that like that bus boy or whatever you did, the server, if you told that server that you'd be here, you'd be like, oh, I made it. Like I'm book me on my trip to Hawaii now. You know what I'm saying? But like that ambition and that drive, you know,
it just gets bigger. The more you have, the more. And it's not about greed, because some people like probably listening to this like, oh, this motherfucker just wants more. Classic greedy person. It's not about that.
Yeah.
Because like one thing about money is like money's cool and all, but it's not really about the money. It's about what can money do for you. I can change lives. I've changed lives because of money, right? And I'm going to continue to change lives because of money.
Right.
Money doesn't bring happiness, but it solves a shit ton of problems.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not even about acquiring more money, but it's also like, what are you doing for yourself as a person, mentally, spiritually, physically? Like like the kind of person that you're becoming is just a better version of yourself. And I don't think that there's no greed in that whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I can see maybe if your sole purpose is if you were just only about money, like money, like give me more, and you're doing it in flawed ways. That's a completely different story. But I'm all about personal development,
right?
And like almost what you're talking about as far as journaling just is a big part of personal development is being able to look back at yourself in a year from now and almost cringe and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I'm not that person anymore. I'm way better now.
Right.
And it's like, this person I am today, right now at 22 years old, I should look back next year at 23 and be like, wow, I've grown so much. And that to me is just like, that's just fulfilling, your purpose here, on earth. It's just, I mean, at least I know, at least in my heart, I feel like that's mine. It's just like, constantly day by day becoming a better version of myself. And it's beautiful because it's in so many ways. It's like money is just, don't get it twisted. Money is a part of it, but it's one part of it.
It's one part of it.
And there's just so much. It's like, there's just this giant journey. It's like journey of being a good brother, like a good sibling, a good husband one day, a good father. You're a father. Yeah. Talk about that. How's that?
Yeah, dude. I mean, you nailed it right on the head. Like, again, I want to make money to be able to not give my kid the Lamborghini. It's not about that.
Right.
It's to be able to teach them the life lessons that need to be taught. Right. Before, like, again, I'm a new father. It's been 2.5 years. 2.5 years, my goal wasn't, I'm going to be the best father ever. Now it's like, honestly, fuck the money. I want to spend time with my kid. Yeah. You know what I mean? To me, one of my biggest goals now is being able to be so successful that I don't need to work those 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. I want to be able to spend as much time with my kid as possible and teach him, you know what I mean? Because like your goals change. You know what I mean? Like fatherhood is one of the most beautiful things that's happened to me. Yeah. And it's made me like a lot more humble because I was just like ambition. I want this, I want that. I want the money. I want the cars, not just because of the materialistic, because of what they signify. Yeah. And what I really realized, like, that's all cool and all, but like nothing's more important than your family. Wow. It really made me understand like the power of family. Yeah. Family is the most important thing ever because those people in your life that is your family members, like, they're going to have your back no matter what. You could be poor, you could be rich. It's not ill intent, right? One of the biggest things you guys as football players, even in the collegiate level, is like, who's really trying to fuck with me and who's like just because of my status, right? Yeah. So like, that's how I feel now, right? Like now I look around, I was like, people just want to be my friend because they see the success. Yeah. Right. And
that's an unfortunate reality. Yeah. But it's just what's real.
But your family.
Yeah. Your family is with you forever.
With or without that.
And that's real. It's like that's another thing I was talking about today as well. Is just like if you have nothing to offer to a person, in today's day and age, it's just almost like where is it? Like, you know what I'm saying? If you have nothing to offer, like there usually isn't any relationship. It almost has to be like a two-way street where you both can offer value in each other's life. And that's not always a bad thing. No. That's kind of just is.
No, that's how it should be.
That's how it should be. And it's just like, with, like kind of just going off what you just said again, it's just like, family is just something like, or family are just close people that you have in your life, your circle, or people that are.
But even they're giving you value by giving you that care, that attention. Like, hey, G, how are you feeling today? Right. Not, how many catches are you gonna have? Right. Or, how many tackles did you have? And like, what's the next move? What's this? What's that? No, it's like, how genuinely are you? That's value. Yeah. Someone that can just listen to you is value, right? So like, you don't have to have value in, again, financially way. There's multiple ways to add value to someone's life that makes it, a two-way street, right? So that's kind of what adding value to anybody. You know what I mean? Like, take you and me's relationship, right? Yeah. You're adding value to me. I'm adding value to you. I'm adding value to you, not in somewhat a financial way, right? Because I'm helping you get to, the financial freedom of real estate and blah, blah, blah. But genuinely caring about your assets, genuinely caring about you as a person, you and Trey, right? Like I'm genuinely out here, as you saw, auditing other people, making sure that you're being placed in the right hands. That's adding value, even though it's not like, oh, we just ripped 150K on a flip.
Right.
Nah, dude, like I'm making sure that you having the correct foundation so that one day you can figure it out on your own, and you know what I mean? You can ask the right questions to the right people.
Yep, and vice versa. I'm adding you the value where, you know, I'm getting you connections to people where it's just relationships. I'm getting you connections
making me
to
more credible.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, that's
and when you do go make it to the league, you know what I mean? You'll be funding the big boy, the skyscrapers here. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because we have that foundation right? But imagine me approaching you after you reach the league, you're 3-4 years in the league, making millions of dollars. I'm a real estate investor. You should invest in my shit. It's like, why would you trust me? Why you're only here because of one thing, right? Versus right now, we're building those foundation blocks and establishing that long-term relationship that in a few years, it's not going to be like, oh, who are you? Fuck yeah, dude. Like, you help me here. Of course, we're going to crush it together, right?
That's a little part of like, you know, reputation too is just huge. It's just like, what kind of person are you? Are you a man of your word? You know, or are you a man of integrity? Right. You know, because those kind of things never go anywhere. I know in like even in the football world, you know, that guy that's, you know, out there, that's maybe he's your position coach at your college. That guy's going to be potentially be a head coach somewhere else, or be moved up to the NFL. And it's just like, you know, the way you come off to people, the way that are you truly a man of your word? Are you a good guy to people? How do you treat the people around you? But that's just that. Those are the kind of the important things, because, like I said, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And if you know those relationships are strong and they're good, and you know you're a credible person, it's going to pay you back in the end.
And dude, do shit with integrity. You know what I mean? Like, here's a great example that you probably don't even know about. Like, so let's take it back to Atchison, right? So Atchison, we had a budget. We were under budget. Everything was great. Life was good, right? Life was good. I took a small fee, which was a very small fee. Yeah. Whatever. Guess what? Realized my accountant fucked up. Not half, but about $8,000 was never added to the final number. I ended up losing. I wasn't going to come back to you guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because like, this is what we said it was going to be. It's going to be that whether it was or not. Right. Right. That's called integrity. That's called like, hey, I got your guys' back. Yeah. To me, I'm in the position now where it doesn't matter. Right. It's just a couple of bucks here and there. It's no big deal. Yeah. But I know, and I've been in positions where like, dude, I need paid. Like, you know, I can't take this L. But through that integrity, through being a man of your word, like, hey, these guys I'm basically driving the boat here, right? If we get lost, it's my fault. It's not your fault, right? Like, you guys didn't pick this. You didn't do this. So, like, the point I'm trying to get here is, like, it's okay to take L's. Actually, it feels good to take L's sometimes. Yeah. Right? When you're falling on the right sword, when you're understanding that it's, like, it's not an L, it's a lesson. Yeah. Right? So what did I learn? I learned, okay, cool. This system doesn't work. We got to figure out a better way. We need an audit. We need this. We need that, right? Yeah. Even if you learn that lesson 3 times over and you've already had that issue, it's okay. Like, it's on you. You can't just go blame other people. Right. So because it was on me, I took the fault. Again, it's not much money. It's not about the money. Right. It's about, like, my word to you guys was, hey, we were under budget and that's what we're going to stick to. Right. Right. And then imagine if hey Trey, hey G, so something happened 4 months ago when the rehab was done. I just caught it today. How would you feel? You'd be like, right, this motherfucker's trying to steal from me. Right. You feel me? Yeah. Yeah. Not even this is the only time I'm bringing it up is because of the podcast, because I'm trying to get you the meaning of what it is, right? Yeah. That's the only, if not, I don't think I would have ever told you guys. Right. Because it's about, like, being a man of your word and, like, building those relationships today, so that we can in the future, like, trust each other, right? Yeah. And that's really what it comes down to, is just, like, add value. Yeah. Do what you say you're gonna do, and put in the work. Right. And that's real. And I feel like having people in your life that push you in every single area of your life. Like, I feel like the people that are in my circle that I, you know, spend the most time communicating with, they are better than me at something. And that's a pride thing. Being able to put your pride aside and be able to be like, man, these people are better than me at, you know, what they do, and they push me in these areas. Like, I feel like all of everyone that I communicate with, they offer some kind of way to, you know, push me in some kind of way. Like, our relationship, like, you're constantly pushing me in the real estate world, giving me, you know, financial advice to how to be, you know, a better
person.
This is not financial advice.
Yeah, okay, not quote, not quote.
I'm just
but
teasing.
real estate
I get what
advice.
you're saying.
You know, my camera guy, he knows way more about cameras than I ever will.
100.
But he's pushing me, helping me know more in that realm, or even some of my teammates that potentially are going to have a higher draft stock than me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're pushing me in that way, and it's just like, and
you're humble enough to accept it.
Right, and it's like, and
that's key.
Right.
I mean that. Take note, whoever's listening, like that's key. Accept the lessons that people are trying to teach you.
Yeah.
Don't look at it as they're talking down to you.
Yeah.
Take it to heart and learn from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like we all need that. No one's perfect, bro. We're human.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's probably way smarter than me in X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
I know shit about shit that you don't know. You know shit that you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It all comes full circle.
Yeah.
So
that's real.
Yeah, bro.
That's real, man. Well, yeah. The whole point of this today was, man, is to offer some knowledge to somebody out there, man, and just like, you know, offer some insight on a different world. And I'm sure you definitely did that today. And it actually took a turn that I actually liked even more. It's just like, you know, becoming a better, like it's like this common theme that I keep getting through all of these is just, you know, constant development of, you know, being a better version of yourself. And I appreciate you. Give a shout out to all your, you know, social medias and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to know more about real estate, I do post a lot of stuff. That's actually how we got connected. That's one tidbit is like develop your personal brand because I sucked at it and I hated it. I actually hated to be on camera. Hated it. So did my mentor. But because you feel like, oh, people are judging me. I'm not this. You have that imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
But like, do it for you and do it for the G's, the Travions of the world that like, you guys got value out of that social media piece that I did. And that's how we got connected. So you never know who's listening. Don't do it for you. Do it like you have something to offer. So start doing your social media. Like even if you have nothing going on, just start posting and be out there. Yeah. Because that's the most important thing. I mean, we literally would not be sitting in this room if I had given up on social media like I wanted to a million times. Yeah. So if you want to follow me, it's at don.esteban.ceron. on literally every handle, from YouTube to, you know, TikTok, Instagram. Just started the YouTube, so Esteban Ceron, Facebook, Esteban Ceron. And yeah, man.
I'll import it, hopefully, like.
Yeah, it was just
right here.
Click here, click the link below.
Right here. Hopefully it's here. Hopefully you can get that imported in there, so it's there. Yeah, that's dope, man. Well, with that being said, I appreciate you coming on, bro. Yeah. That's been huge. I hope someone out there could have took some value from it. I know I did.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys tapping in, man. Till next time, God bless.